Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has been forced to put off his overseas trip due to medical complications. SVG-TV News was reliably informed that Dr. Gonsalves was at home resting and was unable to travel as planned due to falling ill. Our attempts to obtain a comment from the Prime Minister were futile. The PM's press secretary Hans King, however, told SVG-TV News today that he was not in a position to comment on the latest development on the PM's health. Dr. Gonsalves announced earlier this week that he will be out of state and was expected to deliver a number of speeches beginning in Barbados on Thursday at the shareholders meeting of the CARICOM Development Fund. The Prime Minister was also expected to travel to New York today to participate in the 69th session of the United Nations General Assembly, and he was expected to be a part of the panel at the Clinton Global Initiative on Monday and also to deliver a speech at the Friends of Crown Heights in Brooklyn, New York. While a Clear Valley family is counting their lucky stars today, the homeowner says, says she saw signs which indicated that her home may soon crumble. Dr. Katisha Douglas and her daughter were less than 10 minutes away from home yesterday afternoon when she received a telephone call from a neighbor informing her that her house was moving. Dr. Douglas moved into her 3-bedroom Clear Valley house just under a year and a half ago, a house which was constructed under the government's low-income housing scheme. Earlier today, Dr. Douglas spoke with SVG-TV News, explaining that the signs of trouble presented themselves 2 months ago when she felt unusual shaking of the house while asleep with her daughter.
Sunday gone and the Sunday before. While I got up that's the Saturday floods? Was the Saturday?
The floods, yeah.
Right, and I came out. Now I opened my living room door, was preparing lunch to go to church, and when I threw open my door and I hook it behind by that column, and I look, I saw the big crack. One of the baluster columns was pulling away from the wall. So I showed snapped the photo, showed a couple of persons, and then I said, this is strange because it wasn't there before. Every day I open my door, so it wasn't there. So I said something happened, you know. Then I went in Monday and Tuesday to housing to show them, and then when I came back home I looked underneath the house and saw where there were cracks around the board of the porch outlining and piece of the car, because one of my neighbor and I went and we saw a little chip of one of the beam, and yes, I was scared.
And a slight correction, Dr. Douglas's house is actually not one of the low-income houses, but just a house of the project of the government. Dr. Douglas says she is confident that it is as a result of divine intervention that she and her daughter are alive today.
Normally I would be home already cooking and my daughter would have had a shower. I remember telling her we would have had a movie night, you know, eat some KFC and so on. I just stalled a bit. When I know God is with me, the devil is a liar, he's with me, God is with me. And I was saved yesterday. Yeah. Because there was a moment where I just sat. You could ask my daughter and she said, Mommy, let's go. And I said, no, Niara, not yet. And I just sat thinking all things, and then eventually, I was shaken up yesterday, tried to be strong within. Then last night is when everything came wrong on me. I couldn't sleep. I actually having headaches right now. I'm trying to be strong, and my daughter jumped out of her sleep last night, and she cried a lot yesterday. I know it's devastating for her. I was scared.
Where do you spend the night?
By my mom and my parents.
Do you think you would like to live back in this area?
No.
You don't want to?
No. Memories. I mean, I'm strong. It's just a house. I went through a lot already in life, and God is good, but no.
Meanwhile, General Manager of the Housing and Lands Development Corporation, the HLDC, Elvis Charles, says the government very much sympathizes with Dr. Douglas and her family. Charles says Dr. Douglas visited his office last week, informing him of some of the challenges being experienced and seeking assistance to have these issues addressed. Charles described the situation as very unfortunate.
I'd never seen this before. I know it's a brand new house. We have no control over forces of nature. I looked at the ground yesterday and realized that there must have been some shifting of the soil. which is really not a fault of the HLDC, and maybe the house, by shifting the columns, shifted and couldn't really take the weight of the house and it collapsed. What we always try to maintain strict building codes. In fact, our engineers and our STO, Mr. Fidel Rose, he's a young person, but someone who has experience in building and who is very knowledgeable. We always ask for the assistance of Mr. Brent Daly, who is the senior engineer in this country. And what we intend to do, we're going to use this as an example to all of us. Every building in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in fact, we are now constructing 24 houses in Green Hill, and it is really not too late. We are going to observe, we are going to listen to the engineers, listen to their assessment, and try to see how well and how best we can construct houses in the future.
Charles also admitted that the HLDC has received a few reports from other homeowners that their homes have been shaking.
People have come to HLDC and have spoken about, shaking in houses. I remember when we got those reports, we asked for the assistance of the Cuban engineers, and we did a geotech study here, and it was found that, many of the complaints of persons were not really sound. I'm not saying that some may not have cause to be a little alarmed, but the study that we have clearly showed that there was really nothing to worry about.
Meanwhile, a number of officials from government and state agencies such as NEMO and Bragza were on site today carrying out further investigations surrounding the sudden collapse of the house. Some of the contents of the house were salvaged, and according to officials, the remaining of the wall structure will be demolished in the coming week. Additionally, the HLDC General Manager says special housing arrangements have been put in place to temporarily relocate Dr. Douglas and her daughter.
I gave her the assurance since yesterday. I gave her the assurance that we're going to pay her rent, any house that she can identify. We're going to pay her rent. We're going to take care of her until we are able to finish a new house for her. So that, I gave her that assurance, and as I said to you, the only thing I would not be able to buy for is a car. We're going to get everything. We're going to provide everything for you.
The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Reparations Committee wrapped up its week of activities last evening, which commenced on September 15th and marked the first anniversary of the launch of the regional reparations movement here in SVG. Last night's activity was the viewing of the film 12 Years a Slave, which was followed by a general discussion. And according to a member of the Reparations Committee, Mandela Campbell, the committee will be conducting discussions throughout the country as they seek to continue to educate the public on the issues of reparations.
Our week of activities culminates tonight. We have a movie night, a presentation, 12 Years a Slave, in collaboration with the UWI Open Campus, and this is just the beginning. This is one of many movie presentations around this same theme, so we invite you all to listen out for when next we come to different communities and different schools.
Meanwhile, Campbell explains that since the reparations movement started here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines 1 year ago, all CARICOM member states have since conformed and established reparations committees aimed at documenting the effects of the genocide committed against the region's first inhabitants and the enslaved Africans.
On Sunday, September 15th, 2013, the Caribbean community opened the first regional reparations conference at St. Vincent and the Grenadines Victoria Park. The conference was mandated by the historic resolution unanimously passed by CARICOM heads of government in July 2013 in Trinidad and Tobago. That resolution also requested each CARICOM member state to set up its own national reparations committee to document the effects of European genocide against the indigenous inhabitants of the region, the slave trade in and the enslavement of Africans, and the colonization of the country. In my understanding, all of the CARICOM member states have now set up reparations committee.